Welcome to Beyond Great Sex, the podcast that will revolutionize your sex life. I'm Morgan Horn. I'm a sex and intimacy coach, and I am going to give you the tools to create the mind blowing sex life that you've been craving. When you apply the teachings from this podcast, you will drop the shame, limiting beliefs, and everything else that has been keeping you from enjoying the intimacy that you were designed to experience. Instead, you will unleash your unlimited potential, sexual and beyond. When you work with me, great sex is only the beginning. We're going beyond. Hey, lovelies. I hope you're all well on this fine Friday. I am pumped up. I am jumping in the pool as soon as I'm done recording this. I feel like time flies way too quickly lately. We're already, mid-August almost? Before we know it, summer will be over, and I feel like I haven't even started to enjoy it yet. So, can we please slow down time? Okay, today I want to discuss scheduling sex because some people swear by it, others rebel against the whole idea, and I have my own thoughts about it, of course. So, let's debunk this together. Before we get into the hows of scheduling sex, I first want to address the obvious question that is, should you or should you not schedule sex? The way I see it is if you're having enough sex in your relationship without scheduling it, and by that I mean that you and your partner both feel happy and satisfied with the amount of intimacy you're getting, you both feel emotionally and physically connected to one another, and no one feels like they're not getting enough of each other, well, looks like you don't need to schedule it. But most people in long-term relationships report struggling making time for intimacy. So if that's you, know that nothing has gone wrong. This happens to a majority of couples. And as you well know, it's not due to a lack of love or affection. It's just that life gets in the way. Before you know it, you have so many competing priorities: your relationship, your career, your kids, taking care of elderly parents. And that's when all is well and there's no real crisis, like someone getting seriously ill or losing a job and not knowing how to pay your bills. So, if you, like a majority of couples, find yourself struggling to make time for intimacy with your other half, I want you to consider scheduling it. Now, hear me out. I think the reason some of us are so resistant to the idea of scheduling sex is because of what we make it mean: that the flame has gone forever, that it only goes downhill from here, that if we have to schedule sex, then our relationship must be in trouble. We catastrophize the whole thing. And there's a reason why we think this way. Have you ever seen a rom-com where happy, deeply in love couples schedule sex? No, right? Sex in romantic movies is always depicted as spontaneous, hot, and steamy, that can't get our hands off each other type of energy. The only time you ever see couples schedule intimacy in a movie, it's usually a comedy where the whole thing is ridiculed to exacerbate how shitty their sex life has gotten. The message we receive over and over again is that if it's meant to be, if you're with the right person, then you shouldn't have to work at it, which couldn't be farther from true. Anything that matters to you in life takes work. Raising healthy and happy children, building an exciting career, maintaining a healthy body. Your relationship is no exception. It takes dedication, nurturing, and intention to maintain what you care about the most. The other thing that misleads us into believing that scheduling sex is the end of the world is the false idea that sex was spontaneous at the start of the relationship and that was somehow better. Honey, the sex was never spontaneous. Who are you kidding? Think about when you and your partner started dating and how much effort went into planning and preparing for each date. Think about the amount of outfits you tried on, the time you spent waxing, applying makeup, and doing your hair. Think of how much time you spent looking up things to do or places to go to. Think of the amount of time you spend fantasizing about what might happen and anticipating each date with excitement. Now, what about any of this sounds spontaneous to you? If anything, your problem is not that the sex is no longer spontaneous. Your problem is that you no longer anticipate it enough. And not only do we falsely believe that sex was and should remain spontaneous, we also believe that scheduling sex and preparing for it makes it less exciting somehow. Or worse, that it turns the whole thing into a chore. But let me draw you a parallel with going on a holiday. Do you believe that scheduling and preparing for a holiday makes it less exciting? No, right? The planning and anticipation is almost as exciting as the actual holiday. You put it in your calendar and then you look forward to it. You spend hours online shopping for outfits, looking up hotels and restaurants. You plan and book activities. You fantasize about how great it's going to be. You can almost feel the warmth of the sun on your skin and the taste of the cocktails you'll be sipping on that beach. You don't consider all that planning and anticipating a chore or too much of an effort, do you? It doesn't ruin the experience for you. Now think of Christmas and how much work and preparation goes behind the event. And yet the preparation and anticipation of it makes it all the more special. Think of birthdays. They're on your calendar and you're excited about celebrating the ones you love, right? So what if scheduling sex allowed you to anticipate it with excitement? What if the preparation and build up towards it made it all the more delicious? Because guess what? The anticipation was what fueled your desire and made it so much fun at the start of the relationship. So why not recreate that? The other thing I wanted to say is that scheduling sex is giving it importance. You put in your calendar all the important stuff you don't want to miss, don't you? So what's wrong with being intentional about your intimacy with the person you plan on spending the rest of your life with? Scheduling sex is just a way to say, I love you and I want to prioritize you. I want to prioritize us and our intimacy because it matters to me. Also, many women experience desire more responsively and only become aroused after intimate touch has started. When you schedule sex, you don't have to worry about feeling desire or being aroused beforehand. And your partner doesn't have to worry about initiating and being rejected. You both know it's going to happen. So scheduling sex can alleviate much of the pressure for you both. Now, let's talk about specifics of how to schedule sex and plan for it. I want to give you a few pointers to help you maximize success. And by success, I mean pleasure, fun, and connection. Number one, you want to figure out a day and time that works for both of you. Now, this may sound obvious, but I think where a lot of couples get it wrong is that they again default to what society tells them is the norm. And they end up choosing Saturday night because that's date night and it has to be sexy and involve dinner at a restaurant, etc., etc. Nothing wrong with sexy Saturday dinners, but it might not be what works best for you and your partner. You might realize that you have far more energy in the morning and that your partner doesn't start work until noon on Tuesdays, and so Tuesday morning works best for you. Or perhaps you do love Saturday night dinners, but you realize that by the time you're home from the restaurant, you're bloated, he's had too much wine, and you're both exhausted. So perhaps choose to carve out time for sex before heading out to dinner. There are no rules, really. You just want to figure out together what works best for you. You want to think about when you're likely to feel most emotionally, mentally, and energetically engaged. Number two, you want to put it in your calendar in a way that feels exciting. Remember, this is not a chore. You don't want it to sound like one more thing on your to-do list that day. 9 a.m., call plumber. 11 a.m., get taxes done. 4 p.m., dentist appointment. 9 p.m., fuck husband. No, okay? Call it something you look forward to, like sexy time or some inner joke type name that you and your partner come up with together. Get creative, make it celebratory, and add notifications with fun emojis and stuff. Number three, Anticipate, anticipate, anticipate. Remember the vacation analogy. Plan for sexy time the way you would plan for an event that you can't wait to get to. Maybe that involves putting on perfumed body lotion and nice underwear for the occasion. Or maybe it looks like sexting your partner throughout the week and telling them how much you look forward to sexy time. The buildup is what makes it all the more exciting and delicious. So lean into it. And beyond anticipation, I think preparation helps. Like making sure the house is tidy if you know that the pile of laundry and dishes in the sink are usually a distraction for you. Or making sure snacks are ready for when the kids get home from school. What can you both agree on doing and put in place to make sure that you can both show up to sexy time with ease? Which leads me to number 4, bridge activities to get you into relaxation mode. If you're like a majority of women, you'll realize that it can sometimes take time for you to lean into desire and arousal when you have a lot on your plate and on your mind. So having a practice that signals to your brain and body that it's time to step out of busy mode and lean into relaxation mode is very helpful. This can be anything that helps you relax, get out of your busy head and into your body. A walk in nature, a warm bath or shower, reading, dancing, a mindfulness practice, physical activity, you name it. Just make sure to allow time for bridge activities when you schedule sex. Now, don't worry, it doesn't have to be a 3-hour meditation. I get it, we don't have time for this. Even just a couple of minutes or something that helps you relax and unwind will suffice. Lastly, number 5, be flexible about what kinds of intimacy are involved. Scheduled sex doesn't have to mean intercourse every time. It's about building intimacy, whether it's a makeout session, oral sex, laying naked in each other's arms, or just spending time together. It's about feeling close and connected to your partner. And life happens, you know? You shouldn't feel pressured to engage in sex just because it's on the calendar if you just had a fight and there's unresolved tension between you. Scheduling sex is not about an obligation. It's about creating an opportunity for intimacy to unfold naturally when it feels right for both of you. So discuss what scheduling sex truly means for your relationship. Be open to compromise and ensure that the time you set aside nurtures your connection and strengthens your bond. Okay, lovelies, that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Now I'm gonna jump in my pool and I'll speak with you next week. Okay? Bye. If you have loved this episode, please add a rating, write a review, and share it around to help spread the word to all the women out there who need to hear this. I am so grateful for you listening. And if you are ready to take this work deeper, book your discovery session with me at www.morganhorn.com. That is morganehorn.com. We will explore any issue you would like help with, and you will learn all about my coaching program so you can get started on creating the sex life of your wildest dreams. I will see you there.